Hamsters versus Hippos requires players to have some imagination and creativity about the premise. So, the hamsters have escaped their enclosure at the zoo and they're making a run for it, but they come across a pond and they spy their prized possession, the lotus flower. Now in this game, players are going to skip across this tiled area in the center of the board with their hamster token, trying to grab up as many of those lotus flowers as they can before they run into a hippo. Unfortunately, lurking beneath the surface are the hippos, and they are looking for a snack. If a player turns over a hippo on their turn, their hamster is gobbled up, but don't worry, there's another round where they can gather more lotus flowers. The other players, though, should take that as a warning to either escape with their banked lotus flower points or risk it. So players are really trying to balance this press your luck, trying to gather as many lotus flowers before escaping and banking their points. It's a fine balance. The player with the most lotus flowers at the end of 4 rounds wins the game. Players have 2 actions on their turn, and the one you'll probably do the most is move to an adjacent tile and explore. You can move in orthogonal or diagonal direction. The only rule is that you're not allowed to move onto an already flipped tile space. Make sure to set up the tiles in a grid according to the amount of players you have. You'll make it a 5x5 grid if you have 2 to 4 players, and you'll make it a 7x7 grid if you have 5 to 6 players. In the center of each of these grids, a 3x3 space gets 1 lotus flower set right on top because players are going to start on the border of the grid, working their way around and in, making those central tiles just a little bit more enticing to go further into the pond, which might be dangerous. Once you've got the board set up for the round, players will take 2 actions on their turn. They can move or escape. Now if they move, they simply go orthogonally or diagonally from the space they're on, and they flip over the tile and execute its action. Most of the time, it's harmless to some degree. You might lose a flower, gain a flower, maybe gain more flowers, maybe you have to turn a flower back in or steal one from an opponent. You might flip over the hippo tile though. If you do, the player who did that gets eaten up immediately, and they will lose any of the points they had earned from just that round. Previous round lotus flowers get banked, and those are never touched. Once you earn points in a round because you escape successfully before getting eaten by a hippo or before the second hippo tile is flipped, you get to keep your points. If a player wants to escape, they spend their second action successfully leaving the pond. They then get to bank all of the lotus flower points they earned. If you're on the edge of the board though, you can escape on your first action. You don't have to wait until the second action to do that. Once either a second hippo is flipped over or all players have successfully escaped the pond, you will start a new round. Just clear the board, put the remaining lotus flowers that weren't taken back into the supply, and shuffle up the tiles. You will add 1 hippo for round 2 and add a 4th hippo for round 3, and then keep that 4th hippo in for round 4. You really have to balance the risk of getting a hippo when you try to get as many lotus flowers as possible. Hamsters versus Hippos is a light, press your luck game with flipping, tiles, and collecting at its core. Hamsters versus Hippos is super easy to set up and to explain, and it goes all the way up to 6 players. There's even a separate puzzle-based Press Your Luck variant included in the rulebook. It's the perfect starter for game night or can serve as a gateway game for people just entering the hobby. Now that you know how to play Hamsters versus Hippos, keep your eye out for that Kickstarter campaign. I've got some links in the description below so you can find your way to this campaign if it sounds interesting to you. I really was surprised at how much fun I had while I played this game. There is so much excitement. People drum roll on the table when you flip over a tile because you're really worried it's going to be a hippo. This game will keep you on your toes and hopefully keep you laughing as well. Embrace the fun and the silliness of Hamsters versus Hippos.